Yeah, what is going on, everybody? I am your host, Slackerz Game, and bringing you our next matchup in the Fighter Pass tournament. So, if you're new and you're wondering what this is, couple rules for you to kind of follow if you want to participate, and of course, you're more than welcome to. So, it's basically a tournament of 32 characters that have decent chance to be a potential DLC character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and we put them into a tournament form. So each day on the channel, except for Sundays, do something different. But I will upload one matchup from the tournament, and then we pretty much vote for who we'd rather see in that particular matchup. So you'd vote for one of the two characters in that matchup. So today's matchup is Banjo Kazooie taking on Erdrick from Dragon Quest, and I'll get into that matchup in just a second. But you'd vote down in the comments by simply typing the name of either, whatever character you'd rather see be a playable character in Smash Ultimate. And if you absolutely really would love to see both, you can vote for both, but you only get one vote, so make it count. Otherwise, it's a double elimination tournament. Character has to lose twice before they're eliminated. So you lose, you drop to the loser bracket. If there's ever a tie in the voting, I'll flip a coin on camera. You guys will see that, so I can break the tie. Best way to do that. It's the fairest way. So hopefully I never have to do that, because that'd be, I just don't want to do that. But I think that's pretty much the gist of it. Voting only stays open for 1 week to help the tournament continue moving along. So got to go over the results from the previous week, which last Tuesday the matchup was Ryu Hayabusa taking on Mike Jones, one of the very few Nintendo still somewhat of a decent name, Mike Jones from the Star Tropic series. Still a decent name that's kind of out there that is not a spirit, which I just found that kind of a little mind-blowing. With the amount of spirits that are in this game, you'd figure Nintendo is going to dig deep into their bag of IPs. Mike Jones wasn't on there, so he made it into this tournament, but voting-wise in this matchup, he did not do that well. He ended up losing 30 votes to 7. Mike Jones is still a cool character. We'll see what he does. That's only his first loss, so he does drop to the loser bracket, and if he loses again, obviously, double elimination tournament, you are done. So, congrats to Ryu Hayabusa, gets to move on to the next round, and we'll be taking on Agumon. That's a great match. I like that. Those are two characters that I would love to see, and never thought I'd compare the two. That's for another time. So Ryu Hayabusa wins. Congrats. So we got to go to today's matchup. Like I said, it's Banjo Kazooie taking on Erdrick from the Dragon Quest series. Let's go. I think I'm starting with Banjo, right? Yeah, we're starting with Banjo. So what can you say about Banjo other than, oh boy, I mean, great history with Nintendo. Sadly, sadly that Microsoft snatched him up, so he kind of got taken away from Nintendo a bit, but, he fit so well on Nintendo N64, great platformer, Banjo-Kazooie games, awesome. Microsoft tried their hand at it, didn't quite work. Maybe they're rethinking it, and maybe they'll put out more Banjo-Kazooie games in the future. Fingers crossed, that'd be great for Microsoft and for fans as well. So, this was news, just yesterday on Monday? Xbox is bringing Xbox Live to iOS, Android, and the Nintendo Switch. So this wasn't just agreed upon, and they're gonna integrate the networks and all that stuff. This wasn't just done within the last day or two. This has probably been in the works for a while, and they're just trying to figure out how everything's gonna work and everything. So my point is, looks like Nintendo and Microsoft are getting pretty buddy-buddy. I mean, over last summer in 2018, there was the whole thing about, hey, I think it was it Xbox that hit up Nintendo on Twitter and was like, yo, you want to play some Minecraft and Fortnite cross-platform play? They're able to do that with each other, because back then Sony wasn't really playing along, and Sony's like, no, you can only play on our platform. You can't play with your friends on other platforms. No way. But Sony's starting to loosen up on that, so that would be cool to see all three work together. But so it looks like Nintendo and Microsoft, like I was saying, they seem to be pretty buddy-buddy. And Phil Spencer knows the history Banjo has with Nintendo, and more than willing, he's said it on multiple occasions, he's willing to let Banjo be in Smash Bros. It's just, do they work up a deal? Can it happen? I think it can. I mean, if Nintendo, we do know Nintendo came up with the DLC characters for the Fighter Pass, the first one, fingers crossed there's going to be a second one, because Smash is selling an incredible, like over 12 million copies with less than 2 months, which is nuts. So I could see them continuing to support this game for quite a few years, through DLC. But I don't know, Banjo, man, it just works. I think with Nintendo and Microsoft being really good, friends, and I keep saying buddy, but that's what they are. I think, with that being worked on, I really think. Oh, back to that. This is what I was trying to get to. So I think since Nintendo and Microsoft are buddies now, and Nintendo picked the DLC, it depends on if they were kind of listening to the fans. We always hope that they do. I mean, think about this in Smash Bros. Right? The Mega Man, Pac-Man, Banjo, Sonic, Mario. Ooh, that'd be a great match. But if Nintendo were listening to, some high fan demand request for characters for the DLC pass, Banjo was definitely up there. And, with the relationship with Microsoft, I think the formula is just there for it to happen. I think both sides would more than willing to, work out a deal to finally get Banjo in. And maybe, Banjo gets announced. And then maybe even Microsoft comes along and goes, yo, boom. New Banjo game is in the works, right? And it's going to be on Xbox and the Nintendo Switch, right? Think about that, right? They're working together. Great history. Banjo has great history with Nintendo. This is working out. I think this could work out so well for both Microsoft and Nintendo. That'd be so great to see. Banjo, fan favorite. People would buy him, honestly. Come on, right? Who wouldn't want to pay to see the bear and the bird, right? To get that iconic duo in Smash. Let's go. Come on. All right, let me calm down and move to Banjo's opponent, Erdrick from Dragon Quest. So, a lot of talk about Dragon Quest in general getting a rep in the Fighter Pass, and Erdrick seems to pretty much kind of be the front runner, I suppose, right now. All those leaks or insiders that have all this information about these characters. Erdrick being on there. Luminary was kind of thrown around, but it looks like Brave, some people are saying the Brave, the code word could be referring to Erdrick, could be referring to Sora, could be referring to Agumon, could be referring to my left foot. I don't know. There's ties into all. You can tie a word into anything pretty much. So I don't take code words, code files, code names that seriously. But Erdrick, Dragon Quest, we got to say this. Extremely popular in Japan, does amazingly well. I mean, there's how many games in the mainline? Dragon Quest 11 I think is coming out on the Switch this year. I mean, there's so many games that got all these sorts of spin-offs. Sakurai just recently, oopsies, too far. I'm gonna get to that picture in a second. That's a cool one. The next one, Sakurai just in his column recently in an article or an interview or something said he was kind of busy playing Dragon Quest Builders, I want to say, and that's taking a lot of his free time, which is interesting. Again, Nintendo picked the DLC, not Sakurai. Maybe Sakurai had a say in maybe a character or two that he would really like to see if they could work out, and then Sakurai gets to work on that character. It's still a possibility. He could have some influence on who they were to try to negotiate with, but okay, so Erdrick is from the first. Or it's not his actual name. I know that it's a title the character is given. And the first 3 games revolve around him. What is it? Somebody's saying the first 2 games. I'd never play Dragon Quest. Never have. Maybe I will. I don't know. But what is it? The first 2 you play as is descendants or ancestors or something. I don't know. The first 3 are a trilogy about this Erdrick character, and I guess kind of one of the more familiar faces, I guess, in the franchise. I mean, because almost every Dragon Quest game has a new hero, and look at this. This is a cool art. I have no idea who made this. Whoever did, great credit to this. This would be cool to kind of see. So, like I was saying, Dragon Quest always seem to have a brand new hero in their game. So maybe a color palette swap or something like that for different characters. When you go through. I don't know if these. I'm gonna guess these are the actual names. Maybe Hero's not his actual name, but you got all sorts of different Dragon Quest characters that you can swap between, kind of like Olmar Elf and Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings. Something like that would be really cool. Could be expensive to get the rights to all the characters. I mean, they'd all look the same. They'd probably all You got to have the same moves. You're not going to have 8 different characters with 8 different movesets, because that's... Yeah, let's not get into that. I don't know. I think Erdrick seems okay. He's definitely not the top of my list for a Square rep, especially. And yeah, Square's definitely also rumored to be getting a... I think I already said that. But Square is definitely rumored to be getting a rep in the Fighter Pass. Yeah, Dragon Quest, just personally, like I was saying, it's not something I've played. Hasn't been anything that I've really wanted to look into, and, you know, I guess it just hasn't piqued my interest. So, I mean, the fact that he's going up against Banjo, and Banjo is one of my, you know, top wanted characters to see in Smash Ultimate, the history he has with Nintendo and all that stuff, my vote hands down is for Banjo. Easy for this one. Interesting to see how I guess how Erdrick will stack up to Banjo. See if can make a game out of it. You know, close voting or whatnot. We'll see what happens, but that'll be next week. So this one's coming to an end. The only question left to ask is, who are you going to vote for? And again, your options are Banjo Kazooie or Erdrick, or if you really want both, you can vote for both. All right, that is going to be it for this one. So I guess we're going to show the sneak peek for tomorrow's episode. Let's see. The matchup is going to be Master Chief and Geralt. All right, that should be an interesting one. Okay, and then results up here. We're going to get the results of Leon Kennedy taking on Steve. So we'll see if Umbreon, I know you're a big fan of Steve, so we'll get to see if Steve pulls this one out or not. Even if he loses, goes to the loser bracket. It will only be his first loss. So should be interesting to see how that voting turns out. And that is going to be it for this one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed as usual. I look forward to the voting as always. And hopefully we catch you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.